Magicraft is a roguelike bullet hell that allows gamers to test their creativity as much as their skill. Some are calling it the Chinese Hades, but I think there is more to the game than that. Hello all, it's the Dove here to tell you about Magicraft, a new game from indie developer Wave Games. Let's take a quick look at developer Wave Games. And as a note, this is a different developer from Wave Game Studios, who developed Postal among other games. Wave Games is a Chinese developer that seemingly came out of right field with this game. Their previous releases were a few dating simulator games and a rhythm title you can pick up on Steam for about $1. It's easy to say that this is a fresh IP for Wave Games and definitely out of their norm. It's also the first time that the studio has teamed up with Chinese publisher Bilibili. This indie gem just blew me away. It very much resembles The Binding of Isaac in gameplay style, but is very much its own thing. It seems very simple at first. Just shoot enemies and avoid getting hit, which is honestly the base for some great games, and it adds onto it some truly remarkable and deep magic mechanics. Chaining together some awesome powers in bizarre ways to take down your enemies is just a lot of fun, and with a procedurally generated level base and drops and enemies, this game has endless potential. Magicraft just amazed me from the jump. The controls, while simple, feel quite fluid. Now there are some special objects, or relics in this case, you can obtain to change your speed and help with the controlling of your character a bit more, but even at the base gameplay, it's incredibly smooth. The challenge, like many roguelikes and bullet hell type games, is definitely there. Magicraft has a decent jump in difficulty both from actual level to level and when the game allows you to play the normal and nightmare difficulties. What I thought was a breeze the first few runs became a steep uphill battle of challenge, and in a good way. The challenge is not just about taking down your enemies, but how to build your character with the spells and relics you have. Randomness and progressive difficulty makes the player try combos and different unexpected builds. I honestly thought a couple spells were totally worthless until I had no choice but to use them. One example was the Parasite spell. At first glance, it looks stupid. Having the parasites take down your own summoned creature, after you use them, you start to see the advantage quickly though. Those summoned creatures have limits to how many there are on the screen, so once you hit that limit, there would be no point to have that spell in use until the creature dies from enemies. But with the parasites, you give each summon a time limit. And after they perish, they leave a swarm of annoying creatures that attack your enemy. It was just a pleasant surprise to find a constant source of screen-clearing mayhem in a spell I thought before was completely useless. For the in-game setup, Magicraft has the standard health point and magic point systems. You can increase both with various upgrades, relics, and wands throughout your runs. After a couple playthroughs, you can also increase both with some in-game currency you'll find in chests, broken objects, and after you defeat enemies. The hit points are pretty standard, but the magic points are directly related to the wand and relics you have equipped. After a couple runs, you'll be able to afford a second wand slot, and in my opinion, that is where the game really opens up. You are able to switch between spells in a manner that gives you more control. When you are at one wand, you are at the mercy of the game's randomness. That second wand lets you either group spells together in a manner that works best for you, or you can get just the right spells and automate a second or third wand so you can focus on distant attacks while the second concentrates on area of effect spells. It allows gamers to strategize more and helps navigate the MP regeneration, as that is directly linked to your only effective offense and defense. The wands span from simple one spell at a time type wands to multi-shot or combo wands. They all have different effects on your magic points, shot dispersal, and some affect your ability like movement speed. The relics are like any good roguelike, allowing you to add health between each stage, gain movement speed, have your damage linked to purse size, and just a bunch more. But the interesting aspect about the relics in Magicraft is that it directly shows on your character. As some roguelikes and games just have invisible attachments that don't actually affect the skin of your character, Magicraft leans very heavily into showcasing the relics. The term ass clown comes to mind, but you have to admire the dedication to how the relics truly change the character's appearance. Some games try to give you the option to see your base skin, or others try to make all the equipment have some common thread so they look fine as a mix, but Magicraft embraces the ridiculousness of the relics, and I for one love it. There are also Scarlet relics which you can obtain if you defeat one of the main bosses without taking any damage. You'll also have to give up some of your hit points in order to obtain any of the Scarlet relics, but I do have to say they are definite game changers if you get the right one for the right build. The base formula in Magicraft is solid. Fans of the genre will feel right at home between runs at the base camp, as it gives off some Hades vibes. And while there, you can upgrade, change your character's appearance, starting gear, and you can purchase items that will be a huge help in your playthroughs. As I mentioned before, the Relic System is expansive and rewarding. There are plenty of upgrades that won't pay off until late in your runs, and others that seem like they are absolutely essential to win. Luckily, the procedurally generated drops and maps force you to try a lot of different relics. It might seem frustrating at first, but it honestly can help show the different strategies to try. At the very least, it forces you to experiment with a bunch of different builds you might not have given a chance before. The catalog of spells is vast and creative, and the combos you can chain together seem endless. The standard effect spells are there like lightning or poison, but the multipliers and qualifying spells chained together with those and a few summoning spells can make some truly amazing battles. And just when you think you have all the spells down, you can unlock more with currency earned from successful runs. But even with the base spells, I think you can get some truly remarkable attacks. While it may appear that just throwing a bunch of spells on your wand should work, that is not exactly the way it goes. You'll honestly have to read and pay attention to the qualifiers. Putting a magnifying spell at the wrong end of your wand might not trigger any additional bonuses, or combining too many spells might make your overall attacks weaker. You also might run into nasty side effects. Adding the Venom spell to almost everything sounds like a no-brainer, but add the Venom spell to the spell that shoots boulders out of your wand will leave a trail of poison that will melt your HP in no time. So pay attention to the spells, the wand's shooting pattern, and the scatter effect, as they will have bigger roles further in the game. The game also has their chaos effect, if you will, with curses. These pesky pains in the butt can be cured with various potions or statues, but while they are there, they can slow your movement, take money from your purse, or send an impervious tiny snail after you that will haunt your very dreams. The curses are obtained usually by player choice. Two ways to obtain a curse are opening any chest that has pink covering to it. These chests might give you much needed health, spells, or even relics, but will also slap you with a curse. The other way is selecting an item that has a curse attached to it. You will generally see these in side rooms you can open after clearing the screen. Take a relic, but be hit with a curse. The choice is yours. The levels, routes, enemies, and drops are all totally random to each run, so playthroughs are going to be different each time. Also, there are 3 difficulties: simple, normal, and nightmare. Like other games in the genre, you must unlock each difficulty, and with each difficulty setting comes an additional level you'll need to beat for the run. Currently, there are 5 levels to beat on the Nightmare difficulty. The developers have continued to put work into Magicraft throughout early access, and I wouldn't be surprised if they added more levels or an endless playthrough down the road. Granted, that is pure speculation. With the very positive reviews so far, let's hope that there is more to come from Wave Games. The level and boss variety will keep you on your toes. There are all kinds of attacks and enemies, and Magicraft makes sure to constantly add to the challenge at each chance. You think you have a good handle on everything until the tourist-style map pops up, and you can run off the edge of the map on one side and pop up on the other. Normally that wouldn't be a huge issue, but with Magicraft, it has a recoil mechanic when using your spells. That often throws you off your intended path, making these levels I'm talking about even harder. The story is simple and pokes fun at the fourth wall constantly. It is mostly funny, but sometimes that meta style, I'm in a video game so let's point that out, or the constant insinuation that all gamers are oversexed, misogynistic turds, just feels a bit overused. If it is intended as social commentary, it is thinly veiled and not very subtle, so let's hope it is just for comedic value. You start off as some guy playing video games by himself late into the night. When he gets up and goes to the John, he is whisked away to a magical world. You pull a wand out of a stone like a version of King Arthur, then are told some simple explanations of why you are the hero and you must defeat the bad guys. I'd say that's an oversimplification of the story, but it really isn't. It keeps things simple story-wise, and that is honestly fine with me. Quick spoiler warning here for early game. Once you perish, you'll be taken back to the base camp where you can upgrade your character between runs. And each time you progress further in return, more aspects of the camp will be revealed along with pieces of the story. The gameplay is honestly what matters most to me, and this game hits it right on the head in that department. It is simply just a lot of fun to play, and the constant randomness of the levels and drops just give you an endless reason to replay the game and test your savvy. The art style works well with the game. Sure, there can be times where the screen just looks overwhelming, but the sheer beauty of the spells, creatures, and animation can't be denied. I think all bullet hell style games suffer from that overstimulation of the senses issue that can turn off some gamers, but I would recommend this game for those who might think it just might be too stimulating or too difficult. The game does a good job of working you into the overwhelming levels with the mid-stage and main bosses. After a few runs, it'll be a lot easier to distinguish the enemy attacks from your own, and with your own evolving spells, you'll be able to either automate a defense or have a devastating area of effect spell that can help clear your entire screen. Honestly, don't let the style of the game scare you. Magicraft might be the perfect game to dip your toe in the genre's waters. Currently, this indie gem is under $20, and depending on the sale when viewing this, you might get it for nearly half that. From a gamer who hasn't been a big fan of bullet hell roguelikes, this was a great game. If you haven't already, check out Magicraft on Steam. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider clicking the subscribe button now. We have more videos like this and have a weekly gamer news podcast called The Gamer Buff with all the latest gaming news. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, this is The Duff.